Yeah. So again, the report is divided into 4 segments: self-awareness, self-management, others or social awareness, and relationship management. And as I shared with you earlier, people who are self-aware, where they know what their triggers are, what make them happy, what make them sad, they can know how to respond instead of reacting. Mm-hmm. And that's where self-management comes into place. And you will see the 10 components for self-management. And as I was sharing with you before earlier, we're not living with ourselves. We're not homeless. We're not living in the mountains, in the woods or something like that. We have to interact with other people. And there are very different levels of interaction. Like you have 10 officers who you support, you interact with them on a regular basis. But when you're in the supermarket, you interact. And when you're in church, you're interacting. Your neighbors,
Well, then, yeah, I have, 47 people in my office doing the same thing.
There you go. So
and
a lot of different levels of interaction.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I know the last time you and I spoke, you had a serious relationship going with a young man. I don't know where that is today or if it's still happening.
Still happening, yeah.
Oh, good. So that's another intimate relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's all the way, like you and I, we have a relationship. Yep. We're good friends, good co-workers, Heather, all of these are good relationships that we have, So relationship is an important part of life. But great relationships don't just happen. It takes management. So with this tool in your hand, you will be better equipped to manage your relationships and even to coach other people on how to manage the relationship, because you want to get the most out of it. And each component, Kel, is measured from 0 to 15. It's cautionary, vulnerable, average, strong, and excellent. And you will see later where the range falls. Okay. So a perfect score in this report is 26 times 15, which is 390. And I've been doing this since 2014, which is what, eight years ago. And I'm yet to meet somebody who has a perfect score. And the day I meet somebody who has a perfect score, I would think I just died, went to heaven, and I'm doing Jesus Christ. Yeah. So we will see where you fall. And now, one thing I will let you know, we do not use the word weakness with this tool, because you're not weak. If you were weak, you would not be sitting here tonight talking to me. People tend to focus when they're doing something like this on their low scores. But it's not your low scores that brought you where you are today. It's your high scores, your strengths. So what we coach people is to focus on your strengths, do not neglect your low scores, but focus on your strengths, because sometimes when people start focusing on their lower scores, it takes away from their strength, and then their strengths start coming down. So we're going to talk about focusing on your strengths. Okay. All right, so let me show you your report and share. So that's you, Kelly Darwin.
That's me.
Yeah. So, and the first page we want to look at is the overall score. And it says strong. Now, I don't know if you ever played ping pong or tennis or anything, and you've heard about the sweet spot. So in this report, strong is like the sweet spot. You've heard the statements, too much of one thing is good for nothing. And you've met some people who every time they like over emotional. So you're right there in the sweet spot. So you can go ahead and read that, Kel, and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. Sounds pretty accurate.
Now notice the language,
Mhm.
because you're not a robot. So you see words like probably. In fact, that word appears at least 4 times in this, probably, and indicate, because this personal assessment is not 100%, on spot. It's like more like 90%. It gives you an indication, and you know yourself best. Now you can confirm, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I got to stop doing that. Yeah, I need to start doing this, because you know yourself. So this will give you a good, clear indication how to follow. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, so the next page. So here are the 26 components and how they divided into the 4 segments and how you score in each of so if you notice, you have 7 exceptional scores, which is 13 to 15, 14 and 15. Then you have 11 average, 11 strong and 8 average, no vulnerable and no cautionary, which is great. I don't have to refer you to a therapist or anything like that.
Thanks.
Yeah. One thing you want to look at, and I was not surprised about this, Kelly. Look at where most of your strong and exceptional scores fall. In the others and the relationship management, because that's your nature. You like to take care of other people.
I do, to a fault.
So that's the thing, because you remember, you got to take care of yourself.
I let myself go and
right at the expense of yourself, but you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as, the early childhood, because I took care of my dad. I was basically the child and the wife.
Oh boy.
The lady of the house, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So I grew up quickly. So
but even Jesus Christ, went away and got refreshed and recharged. And remember, when you're on a plane, before they take off, they will tell you, if we lose oxygen, this mask will come down. Who do they tell you to put the mask on first?
Not yourself.
Yourself.
I mean, yourself, sorry.
Yeah, because if you fall apart, how can you help anybody else? So that's an area we're going to look at. And so you can see that sweet spot. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Now, Kelly, when you're studying this report, this is the page, and you might want to write this down. This is the page I want you to start with, because these are the definitions of each one of the components.
Let me grab a pen. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. That one.
Yeah. So, because the English language can be so complicated. One word can mean so many different things. So it's good to have a clear understanding what's the definition of each one of these components as it relates to this tool. So, emotional awareness, recognizing one's emotions and their effects. So that you can recognize the triggers, like sometimes you walk into a place and you just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that energy, but I didn't believe it.
All right, and people who disregard that, they end up getting in trouble. But people who are aware of it and say, I need to get out of here, kind of deal. Or you meet somebody and the vibes you're getting is just not positive.
Yep.
Kind of deal, but you got to respond to it, not react, respond to it.
Exactly.
And then accurate self-assessment means knowing one's strengths and limits, meaning you know what you're capable of, you know what you're good at. So when you know what you're good at, you will go after projects and seek areas that that will complement your skills and not go after things that you're not good at, and then you end up failing.
Right.
And then when you know you've seen something you're not good at, you know, I need help with this area, and there's nothing wrong in asking for help. Yeah. Then personal power. Kelly, personal power has nothing to do with physical strength. It's all about a strong sense of self-worth and your capabilities, self-confidence, and being assertive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a difference being assertive than in demanding or authoritative, but being assertive. So that's personal power, and that's self-awareness. Now, self-management, the 10 commandments, the 10 components, behavioral self-control. Yeah, behavioral self-control, keeping disruptive emotions in check, you know, in controlling your impulse, because we are naturally reactive people. But people who have learned to manage their behavior have learned to hit the pause button and select, make a choice as what's the best response. Stop reacting, less reacting, more recalculating. That was one of the things like I like to share with people. Then integrity. Now notice it says at all times, not only when it suits you, but at all times. Integrity. And innovation and creativity, looking for better ways to do things, new approaches, new ideas. And the initiative and bias for action. These are people who they don't have to be told something needs to be done, they do it. It doesn't even have to be their job.
Mm-hmm.
And achievement drive, not settling for okay, always looking, how can I be better? How can I do better? Excellence. Realistic optimism. You know, before, when I was much younger, I was always accused of being too optimistic. I'm learning now to be more realistic about the optimism. And it's come right back to, you know, my personal power, my capabilities, what can I do? You know, be realistic. Then resilience, not giving up. Not giving up. Too many people give up too easy, too quickly. And stress management. Kelly, the medical field has proven that stress is one great contributor to major illnesses. Yeah. But it can be managed, but again, it takes awareness. Mm-hmm. And you know, the good thing about doing a program like this is you don't wait until something becomes critical to take care of it, because that might be too late. Right. Yeah. And then intentionality, on purpose, and being deliberate, you know, like, you know, what's my prayer every day, make me an instrument of your peace. You know, show me your way. Okay, I want to serve you, kind of deal. In be intentional. Any questions? Nope, not right now. And then social competence or other awareness has to do with empathy. Now, empathy is sensing other feelings, but not just, oh, I'm sorry, but willing to do something about it. Even if it means just be there. Don't say a word, just be there. That's my biggest issue, is that I am so empathetic that I end up taking on that other person's feelings instead of helping them. And then people who know you well, they will be tempted to take advantage of that. Yeah, and I don't get that because I'm not like that. You're going to be aware of that. Then situational awareness. This has to do with, you walk into a group meeting and you can feel the tension, or you can feel the joy of the meeting. You can size up the situation. You can, and then you know who are the people who get things done, who are the complainers, who are the whiners, kind of deal, and respond to that. Service orientation, having a heart for service, for helping others. So that's social competence. Then relationship management. Now, the three previous segments all combine to impact relationship management. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So this is how we manage relationships. Now, notice the first component, communication and relationship management, and look at the definition, listening. Too many people don't listen. I know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. but listen attentively and fostering open dialogue. It's not my way or the highway, kind of deal. And interpersonal effectiveness, being open and receptive and welcoming with other people, willing to build rapport. Powerful influencing skill. This is people who, they influence, they don't demand. They don't tell, they influence. And people who influence you get more out of you than you expect. Can you see that?
For sure.
And conflict management, negotiating, not arguing, but there's a difference between arguing and the moment you start arguing, nobody wins.
Right.
And then have the intention to resolve. How can we fix this? How can we resolve this? Inspirational leadership is similar to powerful influencing skill, but this is more like recognizing people and being aware of what they're doing and saying thank you and not settling, always looking for visionary kind of leadership, catalyzing change. There are a lot of people who are afraid of change. They can't deal with change, but we're living in a changing world. People who are strong, sometimes they might be the ones leading the change or initiating. This is not working, we need to change it. Or this is working, but it can be better, kind of deal. And building bonds, like you and I have a bond over the years. So you and, what's his name again?
Ryan.
Ryan, right. Ryan had a bond. So, and it's a special bond. But it takes nurturing and communication and being and connecting and staying in touch. And not just, you have superficial relationships, but then you're in your closer relationships to build up. I don't know, maybe have friends from since high school that you still keep in touch with. Yeah. Teamwork and collaboration. Oh my, if more people will learn to work with as a team and collaborate with one another instead of compete with one another, this world will be so much a better place to be.
Yeah, it would.
Right, coaching and mentoring others. Kelly, you don't have to have a title as a coach to coach people, and because people observe you and they observe the good things you do, and I want to be like Kelly, kind of deal. So by your action, you don't even have to say a word. And I'm sure you've learned from others similarly.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And building trust, which is another key. If there's no trust, there's no relationship. So those are the definitions, and you will see more as we go along in the report. So what we're going to do now, we're going to look at 4 of your top scores, 1 in each of the segments. And my role is to guide you how to go through each one to get the most out of it. So, and I would strongly advise you start with your 4 top scores. Don't take on the whole thing at one time. I know you're an overachiever kind of person. So don't take on the whole thing. Okay?
Thanks. Okay.
So the first one we're going to look at is on page 8. Oh, wait, before I go there, now here is a graph, right? And if you notice, it shows where your scores fall. All your scores are above the average line. And most of them fall right here in the sweet spot, in the strong spot. That's why your overall score was strong. And you can see cautionary, vulnerable, average, strong, and exceptional. And you can see how they graded for each one of the components. Just give you a picture.
That's reassuring. Thank you.
Yes. So now the first one we want to look at is on page 8, and emotional self-awareness. You scored a 14 out of 15, which indicates that you are aware of your emotions, your gut feelings, your instincts, your reactions, and what's causing it. You see, that's the key right there. What's causing me to feel this way? To connect these emotions to the source, and then how it affects you. So, because how your emotions affect you will determine how you respond to other people. Now, people with this competence like you, this is how they behave.
Well, it took me a little bit to get there, I'll be honest. I did go to therapy for a year and I studied a lot about this. So
well,
it's definitely,
it's working, my
helped.
friend.
Yeah.
So these description here are describing you. And you can agree or disagree. And you scored 14 out of 50. So there might be one here that you need to do some more work on.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier on, you were telling me about, sharing your emotions might be it. Are able to articulate their feelings and
I'm
appropriately
very
express them.
self-aware. I know exactly how I feel and why, but I have to take a day or sleep on it before I can address the situation with people sometimes.
That's a good habit, Kelly, because if sometime in the moment we might say something we regret.
Right.
So we wait until we calm. Now write this down. Write 3 F's horizontally. F, F, F. And these are the 3 subconscious reactions that we human beings, we would either fight for something. And when we say fight, I'm not talking about physically, which some people do, but speak up for it. Mm-hmm. Fight for it, for your opinion, for what you believe in, kind of deal. That's the first F. The second F is freeze. There are some situations you just don't have to say anything about. You don't have, there are some people that think they have to say something about everything. Yeah.
I work with some people like that.
Oh, yeah. And they have an opinion about everything. And then the third is flight, meaning walk away. Think about this, Kelly. If more people would learn to walk away, we would have so much more peace in the world today. Yeah. So fight, flight, freeze, and flight. Got it?
Got it.
Then people lack in this competence. And the thing about when you're dealing with people, you can recognize this person is not self-aware. And this is how they behave. Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I mean, if there is somebody that is in a situation where they're lacking self-awareness and I do want to help them, how do you approach that?
Good question. Here we go. Your development tips for you.
Okay.
And although you scored 14 out of 15, I will still recommend you look at these development tips. You might see one item here. You may say, you know what, I need to do more of that. Mm-hmm. Kind of, and you would know what it is because you are very self-aware. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super stressed all the time, but I'm just always nervous for some reason and scared of something. Like I'm always preparing myself for the worst. And I think that's kind of how I was raised because my dad's like that.
Yeah.
And I want to get away from that and just be able to live day to day. But I'm like, oh, I'm scared if I die, if somebody dies.
Remember who
what
you
if I
have
lose
in
my
your
job?
corner? Who do you have in your corner? You have Jesus Christ in your corner. Yeah. And he died to free us from all our anxieties and all our stress. So whenever you start feeling that way, I recommend you go to him. Okay. You go to him and ask him, release me from this anxiety, Father. Release me. Why be anxious, O my soul? Why be downcast, O my soul? I have Jesus. So that's what I do because I'm like you in that respect. I kind of keep things to myself and suck it up because I don't like arguments. Right. I don't like verbal confrontation kind of deal. So I tend to keep it in. But now I give it up to Jesus. And that has helped me a lot. Yeah, I think for a long time I felt like I was complaining to Jesus and it was wrong. And no, he said, lay your burdens at my feet. Yeah. Yeah, lay your burdens at my feet. Yeah. Okay. So there's some 2 good, nice quotes for you to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely read over this more.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just doing an overview with you, and then I always I'm here for you. If you ever have a situation you want to talk to me about, you want to go over a certain component with me, feel free to call and we arrange a
Well,
meeting.
thank you.
Okay? No,
Okay.
no, that's more than that. So that's the first one we want to look at in self-improvement,
Okay.
self-awareness. The next is self-management, is on page 17. Achievement drive, no surprise again, no surprise again. You could score a 13 out of 15. Strong. You like to strive for excellence. You don't settle for okay. That's why you got this call and they hired you in this, Morgan Stanley. Somebody knew you and knew the good work you do. People don't hire people who don't do good work.
Yeah.
Right. High standards. Good for you. Now
Thank
you
you.
scored 13 out of 15. So there might be one item here in people with this competence that you would know and say, I need to do more of that. I would guess, I'm guessing it might be the taking moderate calculated risks. That might be the one you need to do a little more, take some more risk.
Yeah, there's that. And I know it sounds really silly, but being told what to do. I mean, I do great at my job, but I mean, if I don't know, like saying you have to be here by 8 o'clock, I'm like, get off my back. Like, you know, like I'm a professional. I'm the best person in the office. Like, you know what I mean? But I don't need to be like that. It's just,
right.
I think because of growing up, I was told what to do so much that I'm like, everybody stop.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
But it's a personal battle that I need to realize, like everybody has to be there at 8, not just me.
Right.
And it's nothing personal.
Yeah. Yep. And sometimes that's, the freeze come into place, and don't let other people push your button.
Yeah.
Then people lacking this competence, this will help you to recognize the people who are just showing up, just checking a box kind of deal. This is how they behave.
Yeah.
And you being a high achievement drive, this could frustrate you with these people because you're doing your best, you're going the extra mile, and they're just showing up, and so that could frustrate you a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, and now you can help this person by sharing some of these development tips, and you yourself, it might be one or two things. Kelly, learn to congratulate yourself. You're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
Keep a daily log of your achievements. And I like to, being a Christian like you and me, of our blessings. How did God bless me today? And keep a daily log. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Now, one thing I want to edit here for you. See that where it said, make your goals smart, specific, measurable, achievement, realistic, and timed. I'd like for you to change that word timed to trackable.
Okay.
Because if it's specific, it has to be timed. It has to have a start date and an end date, right? But trackable now. For example, if you set a goal to say, okay, I'm going to be debt-free by the end of 2023, so you make it trackable. I will pay this debt down by $100 a month, kind of deal. So now you can track your progress as you go along. So that will help it make it more impactful. And then the Gantt chart, you might know about this. A lot of people don't know what it is. It's just like a spreadsheet with color-coded with all the items you have to do, so you can track how you make it. Green means I'm still working on it. Red, I've stopped.
I made that one.
Yeah, yellow, right. So two very nice quotes here for you to enjoy.
Those are nice.
Good. So how are you feeling about this report so far?
Good.
Good. Okay. Now we're going to go to others awareness, and that's on page 24. So 15 out of 15. Woo-hoo! But
what?
this
I thought it was, oh, it was a 15. That's the one, yeah, that we
that's
talked
the
about.
empathy thing. I know this is one of those components where too much can work against you. Be
And
aware of that.
yeah.
Be a take on other people.
Yeah, it's tough for me to find that middle ground
Yeah.
and not want to just save them. And
Because sometimes, the Lord is dealing with this person, and some people have to learn the hard way. Not everybody learn the easy way, have to learn the hard way. So you're there for them, but they have to go through this until they learn.
I did recently, I'll give you an example. So
Yeah.
with Ryan and I, we grew up next door to each other since we were 9. I've known him for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So we've, dated and then broken up and gone years and whatever, but now we're together, and
Nice.
we were having some issues, and it was, trying to live together and maybe get engaged. And there were things that were bothering me, and we were fighting, and it was just a very negative relationship. And so where he wanted to live here and stay here, I said, I really think it's best if you get your own place for a while.
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah, learn how to pay rent, learn how to live on your own, because he really didn't. And it did him the biggest favor. And as much as it hurt me to see him upset that I wouldn't let him live here, he now sees like, oh, I understand now. And now we're in such a better relationship, in a better place than we've ever been.
Great. And that's an example of your personal power.
Yeah. And while I felt guilt, I still felt very passionate about the fact that that needed to be done.
Well, think about our Lord Jesus Christ. He said some harsh things to people. He said, oh, ye of little faith. But how would they know that they have little faith if he didn't tell them? And he's sending the message that next time something like this happens, I got to have strong faith. Instead of just leaving it, and too many people just leave it alone and people don't learn. So, by the way, on that note, Kelly, I'm glad you mentioned, that you and Ryan are thinking about, this is what I also do for couples. Like we do in your report tonight. It will be very advisable to do Ryan's report.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
And then, because what I do with couples, I do each one of them individually, and then I bring the two of you in the room with me, and we compare your scores so you can see where we are alike, where we are different. So, again, it comes right back to awareness kind of deal.
Great.
So think about that.
And we'll touch on this after we're done with mine, but I kind of want to bring this to my manager at work.
Yeah.
Do you do groups sessions?
Yes, I do. In fact, when I was at Auto by Cox, I did quite a few group sessions.
Yeah, I remember we did them with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember we were in that
Memphis?
Memphis. Yeah, that's where we did this in Memphis. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was. But we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, people lacking this competence. This is how they behave. They kind of ignore. They just pass by and they don't even say hello. They only say good morning. They don't recognize tone of voice and facial expressions. Something is wrong. Something is not right. Can I help you? Are you okay? Kind of deal. And you're that type of person. You could be talking to somebody on the phone, and by their tone of voice, you can know they're not okay. And you will stop and say, are you okay? Are you sure? Is there anything I can do for you? And that's Kelly Darwin. Yeah. Development tips, again, just for your information, but how you can help other people who are in this situation, who are not so strong in empathy. And some really cool quotes here. Questions?
No.
All right. Now we go to inspirational management and 35. 33. Yeah. So you scored a 15 out of 15 in inspirational leadership.
That's interesting to me because I don't like to tell people what to do.
Well, you see, you're good at inspiring people.
I had no idea.
Well, here it is. take a look at it
Yeah.
and see, and this is the result based on how you answered the questions. You're good at
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I see the word leadership, it's not, I need to look at inspirational because it's not just I'm leading people.
telling, right? It's not just telling and demanding.
It's
Yeah.
showing.
And you're a team player, notice
Definitely. And I want everyone to feel a sense of belonging.
belonging. There it is, the third description there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if ever they're looking for a leader role, they got you. And here is the proof.
Oof.
People lacking this competence, you can recognize people who, demanding my way or the highway kind of deal, telling people what to do that they don't want to do. Yeah. And not delegating and working as a team. This is how these people behave.
Yep.
And development tips. So again, you scored 15 out of 15, but it's still good to be aware of these tips. It's like you have a fire. If you leave the fire burning without adding fuel to it, what's going to happen? It will burn out. So this is a strength. Reinforce the strength. Yep. So those are the 4 high scores, one in each segment I wanted to look at you. And now we're going to look at 3 of your lower score because you didn't have much low scores. And in fact, some of your low scores are some people's high scores. Okay. So just for FYI, okay? Page 11. Personal power. Now you scored a 10 average, right? But it's a high average. So, but you said it earlier, you like to keep things within you. Yeah. So this is an area where you want to be more in control of things, Yeah. And I like this, the 1, 2, where it said, define themselves from the inside out. I am capable. I'm good at managing setbacks. I'm pretty good at managing conflicts. I'm creative. Rather than from the outside in, I'm a vice president, I'm a banker, I'm a lawyer, I'm a senior this, I'm a senior, that kind of thing. But people who are strong in this is about their capability. What can I do? What can I contribute? Yeah.
It's the confidence thing for me is what I need to work on. I don't know.
Right, exactly. And you're going to see some development tips here for you to work on. Then make things happen. Don't believe in fate. As a Christian person, we don't believe in fate. We believe in divine intervention. The big difference. Divine intervention, because we know the Lord says, the word says, all good things happen for those who love the Lord. That's not fate. Yeah. Yep. Go after it. Now, people lacking this competence, you might see about 2 or 3 items here, Kelly, that describe how you behave. And you wouldn't know what you just said, lacking confidence in your own judgment. That might be one of it.
Yeah, avoiding challenges.
Yeah.
Questioning myself.
Right.
And setting boundaries, I think, is huge.
But you did with Ryan, and it worked.
Yeah, finally, after 30 years.
It worked. God's timing, and God's timing. Remember, God's timing is best timing. Yep. And here are the development tips that you want to take a look at. And it's going to help you to do a better job here in this particular component. Person to get stronger in your personal power. You don't need to go buy any book or anything like that unless you feel inclined to. This report is, to me, very adequate. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it? All right, the next one we're going to look at is on page 18. Realistic optimism. And this happened to be one of your lower scores, a 9. It's right there in the middle, so nothing to be alarmed about, but to be aware and look at the areas where you need to work on.
Yeah, so like seeing obstacles or bad events is temporary.
Yeah.
For me, it's a huge deal if something bad happens, and I'll live on it for days, and
Right. And it's kind of fatalistic
not that
kind of approach.
serious, but I make it that big of a deal. Anything I've done wrong, or I'll just harp on it for days. So
right, and then stop blaming yourself.
Yeah.
Stop blaming yourself. I do that too, so I know. Yeah.
And making things harder for myself,
Yeah.
For example, like not being exactly on time for work just because I don't like it, and it's just the stupidest thing,
Yeah.
And I'm now like that I've been going, on
So
time
do
for
you
the
have to
last
go
2
to the
weeks. I
office
just
every day
feel
now?
better. Yeah.
Do you have to go into the office every day now?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but now that I'm like, okay, just freaking be on time and do it. And it's not just you.
Just a
And
matter
I
of
feel better.
just a matter of setting your alarm half an hour earlier or whatever it takes.
Yeah. And it's just it's the silliest thing, but I'm getting control of it and I feel better.
Good deal. Yeah, of course.
My confidence. Yeah. Cause I don't feel guilty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People lacking this competence, well, you said it, expect the worst.
Yeah.
Kind of, so.
That's what I was raised to do. Actually, I was taught, my dad always said, expect the worst, hope for the best.
Oh boy, that's not.
So, yeah.
And so here are some development tips for you to work on. You are your greatest motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know you yourself the best, and that's self-talk. I can do it. I can do this.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I look at that quote from Walter Winchell: "An optimist, a man who gets treated by a lion but enjoys the scenery."
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So the other one, the last one I want to look
All
at.
about perspective, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's all perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And make the best of the situation. Don't let the situation overcome you. Yeah. The last one I want to look at with you is on page 32, conflict management. Again, a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see, knowing you, that the reason why you score a little lower, and it's not terrible, is right there in the sweet spot, is that you don't, like me, you don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
And argument. But conflict management is about negotiating and resolving, not arguing. It's more like debating. Let's talk about this candidly. Yeah. And set the goal from the get-go. One of the key guidelines for conflict management from the get-go, our intention is to resolve this. It's not to see who's right and who is wrong, but what's the best resolution. Now you have a higher probability.
I think my struggle with that is the unknown, how the other person's going to respond.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we assume that the other person is going to get mad at us, and
right.
Sometimes when
I'm a planner, I like to know what's going on. I don't like
sometimes when I need to raise something
but I just
with my
need
wife,
to stop getting
I would say something like, V, I wanted to ask you a question. Please don't get mad at me. Because I already assume she's going to get mad at me.
That's what Ryan says, and it makes me feel awful.
Yeah. Win-win. I love it. There's a book called Win-Win Negotiation.
Yeah.
I like that. Then people lacking this competence, you might see about 2 items here that describe you. I think the very first one, avoid. We people, we avoid it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, probably the first one.
Yeah. And then the development tips, right? Some really cool development tips that you can use to get stronger because we're going to have conflict. Sometimes we even have conflict with our own self.
Yep.
And this is really some really good, valuable tips here on how to resolve conflict, how to manage the conflict. I noted the last one, bring in a neutral third party if the conflict cannot be resolved. So, my dear, any questions?
No, this is great.
Yeah, I love this tool. I use it a lot. And it's all about, life is about getting better.
Yeah.
I'm not settling for okay. Too many people in the world are settling for okay. How can we
That,
get
and it's just,
better?
if I try to do too much, I get burned out and I don't
Right.
take care of me, and then I just give up.
And that's where you come back to learn to pace yourself now
Yeah.
that you are, but without the awareness, but now you have the awareness, and you know, we are all creatures of habit.
Mhm.
So being aware of the habits, what are my good habits? What are the habits that hurting me and hurting the people around me now? Just as how I form that habit, I can change it. I have that power. The human being was the only living organism created with the free will to choose. A lot of people haven't discovered that yet. I can choose how to respond to this situation. I can choose whether I should not respond or whether I should stand up at this, but as you said earlier, sleep on it. There are some things we need to sleep on. There are some things in the moment, okay, but not everything in the moment.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight.
Thank you
Any
so much.
questions?
No, if you wanna, you can stop recording now, and
Oh, okay, yeah, hold
let's
on.
talk about